Hey everybody, this is GGB. We're going to be getting into our fourth and final wild card matchup game. Kind of putting this one off, but I can't put it off anymore. I'm going to be leaving for college in exactly 1 week from today, so I'm going to have to try and record all of these videos and get them out to you guys before that happens. So, I got to get this one out to you guys too. This is the last wild card matchup, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to go with that. It's most likely not going to be all that close, but you never know. The game has to be played for us to officially know that. We've had two upsets. Not two upsets, but we've had two teams that have never made it to the divisional round advanced to the divisional round this year. The AAC pulled off the miracle of all miracles in that comeback game against the Mountain West. Down 21-7 at halftime, came all the way back to win that game. Not to mention they were down by 4 points with about 40 seconds left, and they went all the way down the field and scored a touchdown to win the game with Jordan Akins, and not to mention the MAC, who somehow pulled off a pretty significant upset over the Independent Chiefs on the Independent Chiefs turf in Arrowhead. They came and they whooped the Independent Chiefs. They played some great football there. MAC has always had that ability, but they've never quite put it together this year. Big Ben's last year, they decided to do it. Now, the Sun Belt's a little bit of a different story compared to the... By the way, this is FCS Division II, Division III Packers and the Sun Belt Steelers, if you did not know. The Packers are just all the players who went to small schools. For instance, their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, he went to Eastern Illinois, if you did not know. Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp are on this team because they went to Eastern Washington and West Georgia. Players like that, players that went to small schools. And this team is our 5 seed this year, and they're normally pretty good. They have a great game with the Pac-12 every single year. It's really one of the games to watch every single year, along with the AAC and the Mountain West. Those two games are quite great every year. But, it's always held them back as their quarterback play. And if Trey Lance is great next year, the FCS Division II, Division III Packers legitimately have a chance to go and win a championship if that happens. It's going to be interesting. Sun Belt here, this would be a whopper of an upset. It would be. If you went through the rules and rosters, you'll see why the Sun Belt would be a whopper of an upset. Under center here is Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to bring Kupp in motion. They're going to fake handoff to him. They're going to hand off up the middle with Austin Eckler. Their running back room isn't the most solid running back room of all time. It's not great. Obviously, Austin Eckler is a pretty good back. The depth behind him obviously isn't great. And obviously, Austin Eckler's a league behind players like Alvin Kamara and Nick Chubb and the Big Ten's running back room, Jonathan Taylor. Shotgun here. They're going to hand off Eckler once again. He's going to get tackled almost immediately. And the Sunbelt Steelers defense decided to come out and play, I guess. That was a pretty good back-to-back stops. I would say the linebacker core for this team is probably its strongest unit overall. Demario Davis is on this team. David Mayo, I know, is not a big name, but he has played solid in the past couple of years for this team. Shotgun for Jimmy Garoppolo, 3rd and 7. Going to have to pass on this one. They bring a 4-man rush. He has plenty of time back there. He fires it, and it's going to be caught, although not bad coverage there by, I believe, Josh Norman. It's going to be a completion to Dallas Goedert. Again, their tight end room is also not the best either. Dallas Goedert's a fine tight end in the NFL, but if you compare it to the other Power 5 conferences, the tight end room is not all that spectacular. Good coverage there by Josh Norman. Weirdly enough, the Sunbelt Steelers defense has looked pretty solid here early on. It is normally, I would say it's their stronger of the two units, but normally it's a pretty bad unit overall. Trips to the top of the screen. I could be cursing them though. Under center is Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to hand off up the middle to Eckler. And again, he's going to go basically nowhere. Actually, 4 yards is not basically nowhere. But for this team, this is solid run defense so far for the Sunbelt Steelers. And I would even say solid pass defense. I understand there's only been one pass, and it was completed to Dallas Goedert. But that wasn't bad coverage by any stretch of the imagination by Josh Norman. Two tight ends out here will bring their fullback onto the field. Under center is Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to bring one of their tight ends in motion. Looks like maybe a blitz here by the Sunbelt Steelers. They're going to go handoff to James Robinson, I believe, and he's going to go nowhere. Oh, Akeem Davis-Gaither is injured, and that's a big loss. That is a big loss for the Sunbelt Steelers. You need him. You really do need Akeem Davis-Gaither. He's number 59, so watch out if he comes back onto the field. I doubt it's going to matter because it would only matter if Sunbelt Steelers somehow pull off the upset. And with that injury, it becomes even more unlikely considering how huge he is to this team. Like, the linebacker core is a huge reason why they're not the worst, so horrible. And losing him, that's a big loss. He's the second best linebacker on the team. Losing him is going to be a serious disadvantage. Demario Davis has yet to make a big play, so watch for him on this play. Shotgun for Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to just pass, and they're going to throw it over in the middle. Cooper Kupp is going to be completed. And it's going to be tough. I mean, the receiving core for this team is really good. I mean, you have Cooper Kupp, you have Tyreek Hill, you have Adam Thielen. It's going to be a tough receiving core to stop. But they forced 2 third downs so far. It's not like they're driving down the field with ease. Michael Jacques III with the tackle there. I believe out of Coastal Carolina. And watch out, Grayson McCall, maybe next year, could bring a solid quarterback into the NFL. Maybe they won't have to have the worst quarterback in the NFL. Shotgun here for Jimmy Garoppolo. Eckler lined up beside him. They're going to go handoff to Eckler this time. He's in the running room this time. He's going to get about 8 yards on that play. First decent run of the day for Austin Eckler. Good run. David Mayo there with the tackle. David Mayo is really going to have to step it up. Because Demario Davis, they're going to be watching out for him, and they're going to try and attack David Mayo and the third string guy who has come in. Under center here is Jimmy Garoppolo. Eckler lined up directly behind him, just to the top of the screen. They're going to bring Thielen in motion. They're going to go hand off to Eckler, and he's going to get a decent run before he ends up getting tackled there at the 30-yard line by Trey Walker. I mean, he is probably the second best defender on this team. I won't say second best player because the second best player is going to be on the offensive side of the ball, and if they're going to have any chance on offense, he and J.D. McKissic are going to have to get the ball a lot. The second best player on this team, by the way, is Elijah Mitchell. So, I mean, he's a good addition to this team. Their running back room has always been one of their more solid positions. Trips to the top of the set. Under center is Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to bring Thielen in motion again. They're going to hand off to Eckler, who's going to be quickly tackled for no gain. Great play off the edge by Sean McClendon. Sean McClendon, their defensive line's solid. I'll give them that. Mario Addison is a good pass rusher. Sean McClendon up the middle is a very solid player. I'm forgetting the rest of them. But they have a good enough defensive line. And their offensive line for the FCS Division II, Division III, while it's a good offensive line, it's definitely not one of the better ones in this Conference of Champions. So this could actually be a reasonably close battle up front. Under center, again, is Jimmy Garoppolo. They actually lost a yard on that play. They're going to go hand off to the edge, and Eckler's going to cut back into the middle. He's going to keep cutting. He's going to get to a 3rd and 1. It's going to be an interesting call coming up here. 3rd and 2, actually, they call it. Tackle made by Jacquet, the 3rd. Again, I'm sorry, Ronald Blair, the 3rd, is the other pass rusher for this team. Christian Ringo also up the middle. You expect to hear that name a decent amount. Some Hamilton. Okay, they bring 2 tight ends set here. Kupp and Hill to the outside. Under center here is Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to go hand off up the middle is Eckler. He has some running room. He's going to be able to just enough. 4 yards and picks up that first down. I think that's Christian Ringo that's going to be credited with that tackle. It brings up 1st and 10. But I'll give some Sunbelt Steelers fans some little bit of hope. When I played this game, at least I played actually only 1 quarter of this game before I lost all of my progress. But because the drive decided to quit recording for some reason. Well, that really sucked, but they had already let up a lot of touchdowns by this point, and every single time they drove, they did not even get to a 3rd down. It was that easy for the FCS Division II, Division III Packers. They've at least made them work for this one. They've had to convert 3 third downs, and eventually they're going to make a mistake. The problem is your offense is actually going to have to capitalize, because just statistically they're going to make a mistake. Fullback on the field, 1 tight end set here. Under center is Jimmy Garoppolo. Go handoff to the outside to Austin Eckler. He's actually going to get tackled for about no gain on that play. Great play made on the edge there by Ukeme Eligwe. I believe that's the linebacker that came in for the Keem Davis-Gaither injury. So, I mean, pretty good job there. He's definitely going to be attacked here early on. Shotgun here for Jimmy Garoppolo, 2nd and 10. 18-yard line. He takes the snap, handoff to Austin Eckler, who's going to be able to get out of that tackle, but run straight into the defensive tackle, who's going to end up corralling him. Great play there by David Mayo off the edge. Ended up almost getting the tackle, but at least forcing him inside to, I believe, McClendon. But 3rd and 9 coming up near the red zone. You can hold them to a field goal, theoretically speaking, here for the Sunbelt Steelers. At least make the first quarter seem close. By the way, I'm selling the Sunbelt Steelers a little bit short. 2 years ago, they had a close game against the FCS Division 2, Division 3. 3-man rush. He has plenty of time. He fires it. That's going to be intercepted. That is going to be intercepted by Chandon Sullivan. Great play made there by Chandon Sullivan. They gave up 0 points on the first possession of the game. And that might be a first for the Sunbelt Steelers. What a great play made there. This is not real, by the way. 2019 season stats. Brandon Silvers has 0 passing yards in the NFL. By the way, just to explain it to you really quickly, Brandon Silvers is not really a quarterback in the NFL. But the fact is, you have to give them a quarterback. You can just put a receiver at quarterback. I did the same thing for the Independents when they didn't have a kicker. I just made him and his backup the 2 worst kick quarterbacks in the league. So they don't have really an advantage, but they at least have someone there to hand the ball off or have some semblance of quarterback play. Brandon Silvers is an actual person, though. Under center here, fullback on the field is Brandon Silvers and the Sunbelt Steelers at the 1-yard line. They're going to have to get past this. They have a solid running hole. Great run there by Elijah Mitchell. And if they want to have any chance at winning this game, that man right there and J.D. McKissick has to be their entire offense. They have a solid receiver. Albert Wilson is not bad. Okay, that's for sure. Albert Wilson is a good receiver when healthy. He's solid enough, but I just don't have faith that Brandon Silvers can get it there. Gerald Everett's okay, and he's definitely going to be on the field. You can see him right there in Albert Wilson. There's FCS Division 2, Division 3 defense is also pretty good. A lot of great players on it. Obviously, you see the stars on the defensive line, so you know how good they are. Shotgun here is Brandon Silvers. They're going to go handoff again to, I believe, Elijah Mitchell, who has another huge hole and going to get about 9 yards. Actually, J.D. McKissick on that run. So, yeah, as I said, Elijah Mitchell and J.D. McKissick, they have to be the entire offense. I understand eventually they're going to key in against the run, and you're just going to have to hope Brandon Silvers can make some basic passes to Marcus Green or Albert Wilson. But 2nd innings is coming up here, guys. Shotgun for Brandon Silvers. If the Sunbelt Steelers take a lead in this game, it would be amazing. Throws it. What a pass. What a pass. It was open, but what a pass. Brandon Silvers rarely makes open passes of that caliber. Damian Willis, actually, with the reception there. I believe he's the 3rd-string wide receiver. He's going to be your slot guy, I believe, the majority of the time here. So bringing up a 1st and 10. Again, at the 37-yard line. So 36 yards so far on this drive. Shotgun here for Brandon Silvers. They're going to pass. He actually has time, but eventually he's going to get sacked. And the offensive line isn't the greatest in the world, so you're just going to have to expect that. And they're behind the sticks now. And this is going to be a tough one to overcome. They really don't have the type of offense that can overcome being put behind the sticks. Yeah, they were double teaming. Javon Hargraves, great pass rush move, getting in between the 2 blockers. Not the best blockers in the world, but they're offensive linemen in the NFL, so they don't suck. 2nd and 17 from the 31-yard line. You're going to have at least 5-6 yards to have any semblance of hope on this 3rd down. Under center here, 2 tight and set. Brandon Silvers is going to hand off. Oh, there's just not a lot of running room there. Gets about a yard on that play as Elijah Mitchell brings up a 3rd and 16. The thing I should mention about this tight end room, rather, there's only one tight end in the NFL that went to a Sunbelt school named Gerald Everett, if you did not know. So the rest of them are made up. There's one running back, and there's one, I forgot. There's another one from a different position. Empty set here is Brandon Silvers. He's going to scramble, and he's going to get sacked. And he's sacked, and that's a rough one if you're a Sunbelt Steelers fan. But on the bright side, you ended up actually going 22 yards, and you showed some life on offense. Now, granted, obviously you would have wanted some points on the drive, but you got out of your own end zone. That's what you needed to do. It's unfortunate that you got sacked, but I mean, it could have gone worse. Definitely could have gone worse for you. And out comes your punter. Your punter is actually good. Your special teams core, despite all the flaws of your offense and defense, your punter and your kicker are both very solid at their positions. Sam Martin, I believe, to punt this one away. And that's going to go all the way to the 25-yard line. And Tyreek Hill is going to get tackled at the 28 for a very small return. Great tackle made there by Kendall Vildor. And onto the field comes Jimmy Garoppolo again. And Jimmy Garoppolo, again, he made a huge mistake last drive. Again, your offense didn't capitalize on it. Like I said before, if you keep making them try and convert third downs, eventually they're going to make a mistake. They are. And you got that last drive with the Chandon Sullivan interception. But on the other hand, like I said earlier, you're going to have your offense actually capitalize from those mistakes. Now, they actually have to drive the whole length of the field again, so that's the bright side. 2 tight end set here. They're going to go handoff to Austin Eckler. He has a hole. He's going to get about 9 yards on that run, so good run there by Austin Eckler. 8 yards, actually. David Mayo there, credit with the tackle. As I said before, David Mayo is actually a solid player for this team every year. It's weird. There's a player like that for every team. Like the Mountain West has Jacob Hollister. The MAC has Tyler Conklin. It's players that not super high overall, but they get a lot of production out of. Shotgun here for Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to go read option. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to run it all the way down to the 47-yard line. Great run there by Jimmy Garoppolo. Weird play call, I guess, because they have Aaron Rodgers. I don't even remember them running that much read option with Aaron Rodgers, though, if I'm going to be honest. It's a weird play call, but it works regardless. And great play. It ends up being Jimmy Garoppolo goes all the way down to the 47-yard line, already at midfield in 2 plays. So good drive here early on for the FCS Division 2, Division 3 Packers. And you really couldn't have expected that. Just knowing Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't think he's going to read option it. You couldn't have expected if you're the Sunbelt Steelers. Shotgun here for Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to go handoff actually to Austin Eckler. He's going to cut back. He has a lane, and he's going to get 11 yards on that run. And Austin Eckler starting to find his groove on offense. Austin Eckler was Jeremy Reeves there with the tackle. So early on, Austin Eckler was trying to find his groove. Last game, he did great. He absolutely dominated the Sunbelt Steelers with his run game. He's like Joe Mixon against Conference USA. He had a phenomenal wild card round, at least in the first quarter and a half. 1 tight end set, it looks like. Under center here is Jimmy Garoppolo. Looks like maybe a blitz by the Sunbelt. They go handoff up the middle to Eckler, and he's going to get tackled for about a 7-yard gain, maybe? Yeah. So great run there by Austin Eckler when it looked like there to be nothing there. I don't know why Austin Eckler is suddenly on the bench getting talked to. I guess maybe they're putting their backup running back. I doubt it, though. James Robinson is not used heavily by this team. Although James Robinson's a very solid, capable backup in the NFL. 2nd and 3. Actually, he's a starter in the NFL. I'm sorry. He's a very capable backup for this team. They just don't use him that much. Shotgun here for Jimmy Garoppolo. Looks like a 4-man rush. They're going to go handoff to, who guessed it? James Robinson. Actually, Chase Edmonds. I'm sorry. Chase Edmonds, also in the NFL. He's more of their passing down back if they're tired of using Austin Eckler. If Austin Eckler gets too tired, expect to see a good amount of Chase Edmonds if they're going to be passing the ball. James Robinson's more their power back, so expect when it gets closer to the end zone, expect to see him a lot. It's a 3-man rush, although they could bring Mayo in on a blitz. Shotgun for Jimmy Garoppolo. They back out, 3-man rush. They bring corners on a blitz, though. It fires it. He gets it to Cooper Kupp, who's going to be tackled for about a 7-yard gain by David Mayo. David Mayo racking up some tackles in this game. But the FCS Division 2, Division 3 Packers are driving. But again, they've actually had to work at it. Before, it was easy. Like, they were wide open guys. They weren't even pressured. It was some easy stuff going down the field. This time it's not been so easy. 4-man rush, he has some time. Eventually he's going to be pressured, though, and he's going to get it off, but he's hit while he's doing so. It's going to be inaccurate, and it was incomplete. So it brings up a 3rd and 3. It's going to be interesting. Great pressure there up the middle by, I believe, Sean McClendon. I'm not positive, though. Brings up a 3rd and 3. Chance to get a huge stop here again for the Sunbelt Steelers. 3 wide receiver set. Shotgun for Jimmy Garoppolo. Looks like 4-man rush. It is a 4-man rush. He fires it quickly. It's going to be incomplete. And this defense so far for the Sunbelt Steelers has been great. Now, remember the one time they actually played a close game until the fourth quarter. Again, fourth quarter they got blown out. But the one time they've actually come anywhere close being a close game is going to be a kick by, I believe, Greg Zuerlein on the field. Kick is up, and it is good from 23 yards out. It's going to be a 38-yard kick. The kick is up and good. So it's going to be a 3-0 lead for the FCS Division II, Division III Packers. But again, this is a pretty close game, all things considering. Only 2 minutes, 12 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Yeah, it's been close, which is weird. It's never really been close. Again, I'll talk about it. 2 years ago, it was somewhat close. And the one thing that made it close was the fact it was a low-scoring game. Actually, at one point in the game, the Sun Belt actually took the lead with a long Gerald Everett touchdown that gave them a 13-10 lead. In the fourth quarter, they got absolutely lambasted. There was no coming back. But they actually did something in the third. This is going to be returnable. He's going to get it to about the 24-yard line before he's tackled. They mark him at the 25. 21-yard return. And onto the field comes Brandon Silvers again. And they didn't have exactly a horrible last drive. And if they can keep forcing field goals, they can stay in this football game. You just need your offense to actually come away with some touchdowns, okay? Your Sunbelt Steelers defense has been playing their butts off. They've been playing some of the best defense I've seen them play in a long time. And they're going to have to keep it up if they really want to win this game. Under center here is Brandon Silvers. 2 tight end set. Actually going to go pass here. Fires it underneath to an open receiver. Actually, it's going to be a tight end, I think. And Omar Bayless. So Omar Bayless is, I believe, their number 2 tight end. He's a former receiver. He was a receiver on the team. He wasn't going to make the 6-receiver squad. So I moved him over to tight end. And what do you know? He was the second best tight end possible. So he made the team as a tight end. And there we go. He's the number 2 tight end for this football team. Don't expect too much great blocking out of him, but he does bring a significant speed advantage to the tight end position. Under center here, once again, 2 tight end set. It's Brandon Silvers. They're going to go handoff up the middle. Elijah Mitchell, I believe, gets about 5 yards on the play, brings up a 3rd and 2. And it's an interesting call. Do you go handoff up the middle once again and hope you can get enough of a push offensively to get those 2 yards, or do you go pass and just really play some Russian roulette with Brandon Silvers? I probably go run up the middle, trust Elijah Mitchell. 2 tight ends set here. Under centers, Brandon Silvers. They're going to hand off to Elijah Mitchell. He has some push. He's going to end up getting the first down, getting 4 yards, and they give him that first down. Great play made there by Elijah Mitchell. This is what you need. A steady but sure drive down the field. 59 seconds left in this quarter. I hope you guys have enjoyed this first quarter of action. It's actually been interesting. It doesn't happen very often with the Sunbelt Steelers. They don't really play close games most of the time. So, yeah. This has really been interesting so far. Here comes the Sunbelt Steelers on a drive. Can they get closer to midfield before the first quarter ends? Shotgun here for Brandon Silvers. He takes the snap. They bring a blitz. He fires it, and that's going to be a wide open man. He's going to run all the way to the 50-yard line. And injury timeout, John Franklin Myers is hurt. Number 95, Albert Wilson with his first catch of the game, by the way. And that could be that could hurt you moving forward if you're the FCS Division III Packers. 95, John Franklin Myers. You kind of need him if you want to beat the Pac-12. If you make it past this game, right now, the Sunbelt Steelers are looking every bit as formidable as any other team in this league. You would expect them not to play this well because they're the Sunbelt Steelers and they're notoriously really bad. For goodness sake, they only have 6 offensive linemen. Some of their offensive linemen are running backs and kickers and stuff. They're going to go pass here, fires it, and it's going to be incomplete. Yeah. That's kind of what you expected from Brandon Silvers. So far, he'd been perfect on the day. That's not Brandon Silvers at all. It's not Brandon Silvers we know. But They're in this game. They're only down 3-0. They're at midfield. Brings up a 2nd and 10. And if you can get this ball within field goal range, I mean, Younghoe Koo's a very good kicker. He can make it. So this is empty set here for Brandon Silvers, and I think this is a mistake. You need at least the threat of a running back in the backfield. They're just going to tee off. He takes the snap. He's immediately pressured out of the pocket. He has to throw it deep. It's just going to be incomplete. It was all very nice throw, though. It was just very good coverage. Brings up a 3rd and 10 with 24 seconds left at midfield. It's going to be interesting. You probably punt this ball. If you're the Sunbelt Steelers, you trust your defense and you just try to pin him. Sam Martin's a good enough punter that you can pin him. But 3rd and 10, what do you call here? Probably has got to try and get it to Albert Wilson. Takes a snap. He's going to scramble out of the pocket. He throws on the run, and it's going to be inaccurate. Why are you throwing on the run if you're Brandon Silvers? 3 straight incompletions. His first incompletions of the game. Force a 4th and 10 from the 49-yard line. They're going to have to punt this ball away. They're just going to have to trust their defense heading into the second quarter of action. They are going to punt this ball away from 49-yard line. The punt is off from Sam Martin. And that's going to land around the 8-yard line. It's going to bounce. It bounces into the end zone. And that sucks if you're the Sunbelt Steelers. You had a chance to pin him deep. And that did not happen. They get it at the 20-yard line. 13 seconds left. Likely the last play of the first quarter of